Good morning and hope you're having a great start to your weekend. Thanks for tuning in to the American Huddle. Alongside college football analyst Andy Gresh, I'm Haley Outen. 5 remaining conference games on the schedule today, starting off with 4-4 Memphis versus 2-5 ECU in Greenville. Andy, how do you see this matchup between the Tigers and the Pirates playing out?
Well, for ECU, I really don't know where they're at right now, Haley. And I know it's been a struggle this year for Scotty Montgomery and crew, but we know that they can make explosive plays on the outside. And then there's Memphis, where people had high hopes for Memphis this year. And with all of the churn and the pros that they've been turning out over the past couple of years, you had to think there would be a bit of a leveling off. And I still think that Memphis's ability to run the football, especially against ECU, is elite. They get enough out of Brady White to be able to get a win today. And for ECU, they got to find a way to get off to a good start and get some confidence. To me, it seems like there are times where the confidence wavers, and then it feels like the ceiling just caves in on them, and they can't find a way to dig their way out. So score early if you're ECU, and if you're Memphis, come in, run the ball, hit them with play action, and get out of there as quick as you can with a win.
Memphis ECU, a noon Eastern kick on ESPNU. A couple of other cross-divisional games going on at 3:30. First, Tulane at USF. Where specifically do the Bulls look to improve after suffering their first loss of the season last weekend?
I think they got to load up against this Tulane running attack and force the young quarterback McMillan to have to throw the football. I think for USF, this will let us know, Haley, quite honestly, how much guts the Bulls have and how much they're going to respond to adversity. Is it going to be one of those deals where they pack it in and continue to have more issues? Or does Charlie Strong whip them into shape? They go out and score with Blake Barnett and say hold Tulane to 20 points. That'd be a big step forward for the Bulls if they can do that.
We've seen Tulane knock off Memphis this year. What is the key going to be for the Green Wave to do the same thing in Tampa?
They have got to hit big plays in the run game. And I know I'm all over Tulane about throwing the football, but if they can get big runs and get those 20-yard chunk plays and even convert some into the end zone, now you're talking about really stressing this USF defense and arguably messing with their heads and getting them to think, oh boy, we're giving up big plays again. It's just another day we're going to have to battle our tail off.
USF and Tulane, a 3:30 p.m. Eastern kick on CBS Sports Network. 7-1 Cincinnati hosts an uncharacteristic 2-6 Navy. How do the Bearcats keep it rolling against a triple option look they haven't seen yet this season?
Well, and this is where the old rubber meets the road here, because last year Cincinnati gave up almost 570 yards of rushing to Navy. It was a historically bad performance from the Cincinnati defense. So now if they can hold them to what? Say 320, they should be able to win the game. I think a lot of this comes down to Desmond Ridder as well, the young quarterback. How early can they put points on the board and get Navy to play that proverbial left-handed game to where they got to start to try to work play action and throw the ball? If Cincy can get an early lead, that's their best defense, because Navy then is going to get into some situations to where they got to throw it, and they don't like to do that.
Navy at Cincinnati, a 3:30 p.m. Eastern kick on ESPNU. UConn at Tulsa, both sitting at 1-7 and in desperate search of not only a win, but some confidence. The Golden Hurricane have lost some close ones this season. What will be the key to Tulsa finishing strong and coming out on top after 4 quarters?
You know, this is interesting because this is going to sound like a real cop-out here, because neither of these teams are very good. They've had some issues this year. But to me, it comes down to who wins the fourth quarter. You know, because I think they're going to play it close. When you look at the wins that they did have this year, both over FCS opponents, and now it's going to be an issue of who can close. Because I don't know. Like, I'm not Kreskin. I can't figure these two teams out right now. So that's why, to me, it's who can win the fourth quarter, because I expect 17-17 right around there heading into the final 15 minutes. And then it's the, hey, let's see what happens. I know UConn was close last week against UMass. They pulled away late, gave up some big plays on defense. So don't give up those big fourth quarter plays, and fingers crossed, really, because we just don't have a big body of work on either one of these teams.
UConn at Tulsa, a 7 p.m. Eastern kick on CBS Sports Network. Number 17 Houston at SMU, a nice little Texas showdown. We've been blown away by what the Houston offense has done this season, scoring at least 41 points in all 8 games. How does SMU keep this one in range and not let it get out of hand?
Hold the ball, I mean, really, and score. I mean, I know it sounds simple, and SMU does have some quick playability to their offense. But look, if they get into a shootout, I don't know if they can hang against Eric King in Houston with the kind of year that he's having. We know the Houston defense will give it up. So I'd say to SMU, if you get down early, keep chopping away. You know you can make some plays. And from the other end, turn Eric King loose. That's what's worked. It's been great for Major Applewhite this year. Why not let a guy who, I don't know, I mean, maybe he's the leader heading into November for the Conference Player of the Year. But at the end of the day, SMU is going to have to hold the ball or find a way to score, or maybe do a little bit of both, because we know Houston doesn't need a lot of time to put points on the board.
Houston at SMU, a 7 p.m. Eastern kick on ESPNU. Next week, we will be back. However, we're going to be going digital inside the Digital Network studio.
Yeah, what is going on here?
I'm on the road for soccer championships. State of Florida. Beautiful thing.
So not only are you covering communist football, you're doing it in Florida?
It's going to be really tough.
Yeah, that's a tough sell. So we're going to have some sort of fandangled setup where I'm going to be back here at Command Central, and you're going to be like sitting there sunning yourself like Paulie Walnuts and Sopranos with the big silver thing and getting your raise and talking to me.
I would never leave you in here by yourself. I would never do that to those at home. So I'm still going to be hosting. I'm just going to be hosting remotely via Skype, but this guy will be holding down the fort here in the studio.
So basically, if something gets shaquad with your Skype, then it's in my hands to take over, right?
Yep. Let's hope for the best. All right, we'll see you back here next week on the American Huddle. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday and the action across the American. We'll see you then.